All right, we're on. All right, what's up, guys? This is the second episode of our NFL show. Again, we still don't have a name, so if y'all ever want to, if y'all have any suggestions or anything of that sort, feel free to comment them or DM us. We have a guest today. Hopefully, he's going to be a more frequent guest. We have AC on the show, Analytics Capper. I've been working with him since July. Actually, we met from table tennis of all things, and honestly, we've come a long way since. AC
Crazy
more than me.
times. Yeah, crazy times. What's up? Thanks for having me on the show.
For sure, for sure. And I appreciate you being on it. His at is in that little banner right there, Analytics Capper. If you don't follow him, go ahead and give him a follow. He's a genius mind, bets almost every sport, and is one of the most profitable guys I know. Um, so, for the people who are tuning in for the first time, the point of the show is very simple. We want to get free picks out, of course, but also we want to provide a platform on which we're able to discuss our angles and showcase our betting personality. So what I term or what I call a betting personality is basically what you look at when you're capping. So everybody looks at certain different things, and basically that comprises your betting personalities. The more betting personalities we can put on this show, the more angles you'll be able to get to look at. So this is why it's good to have AC on the show with us. Mind you, it is Wednesday, so follow all three of us because there might be leans that we might give out today that might become plays at the end of by the end of the week. So be on the lookout for that. And then also we again handicap a lot of other sports. So just by following us, you allow yourself to, I guess, increase your footprint in gambling. Um,
If I could jump in and do a quick intro myself.
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to let the people know I don't join shows just to join shows. I do believe in these two. I really want to make sure that this space or this industry is moving forward with data driven decisions, with true handicapping and not just guessing. There's a lot of people on Twitter or social media in general that um, quote unquote get hot all the time. But if you look at their history or if you break down exactly their bets, their positions, all of their angles, it doesn't really add up. It doesn't make sense. So I do believe in these two. They take handicapping seriously because it is a serious thing. And if you want to make it a legitimate side income, your main income, just a legitimate steady stream of revenue, you have to take it seriously. And so I do recommend these two.
And thank you for those kind words.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. That was really nice. Let's jump into the first game on that note. Texans -3 versus the Lions, 51.5 total. Do you have any ideas on these or any thoughts on these?
Yeah, so I was big on the Lions last week. I was just so surprised by how badly the offense performed with the absence of Galladay and Amendola and Swift. Texans, honestly, they've been a decent team lately. Right now, I'm going to have to lean the Texans spread -3 just because I really don't think the Lions could put up that many points, even though the Texans offense, the coaching's been in shambles the entire year. But I still think they could pull it out tomorrow.
It's a fair assessment. Just to kind of dive into this line real quick, with the totals that are given, Vegas is essentially projecting this 20 to be 27-24. That personally pushes a spread under for me, but pushes a spread, but it gives me the under. And frankly, the rest of my systems are also pointing towards the under. So I do like the under in this situation. Galladay is also out. So that sort of helps, in the under, because like you said, without Galladay, the Lions offense was nothing. They scored 0 points. That being said, I genuinely like the under in this situation. I would lean the Texans, but I just don't have enough information on the Texans. I don't have any trends or anything of that nature on the Texans. So I can't take it right now, but I have a trend on the under, and my systems are pointing under. So that is what I would play here. Again, just like you, I'd lean the Texans. AC, what do you have?
No, I mean, I don't have much to say on this game. I do like how you initially analyze the spread and the line. You kind of come up with the projected totals or the projected outcome of what Vegas thinks. That's how I would start it out as well. Really, for me, is for Thanksgiving games or primetime games or premier games that there's only one or two for that day or one or two for, that event. And so Thanksgiving is a huge primetime situation. We know a lot of more action is going to be on these games than regular games. And so me just coming from, my background and kind of understanding how the odds makers work, I tend to lean the sharps when it comes to these premier games. Is this the first game or second game of the day?
First game.
It's the first game. So I mean, the narrative could be Public wins first game and then they donate it back on the second game, right? So things like the favorite Texans or the over would probably Public plays. They may hit this first game and then the books would then start eating in the second game. For this particular game, if I were to handicap it, and I haven't done any research on it yet, but if I went into it in a vacuum, I know that the Lions just got shut out. We talked about this before the call. In the last 5 years,
I could pull that one up actually.
Yeah, when a team gets shut out, I don't have the exact stats. I have 17-5-2 against the spread, which is 77%. I think you have 80% on your database. So really, the trend is a team coming off of a blowout or coming off of a shutout. Usually shows up the next week. In this case, and in this season in general, right, with COVID and injuries, we don't know. Some of these trends are thrown out the window.
Trend definitely makes a lot of sense just because due to the previous week, the general public's definitely going to think that team's generally worse, and they're going to come into the game with a much higher spread than they normally would.
Just beat the Patriots, right? A premier team. They were underdogs, somehow beat the Patriots. So it's almost like a double whammy in this spot. It's a good spot to fade the Texans, a good spot to back the Lions. But again, we need more data.
But right, I would also like to point out on this trend, the under is also showing at a 62% rate. So again, that goes with what Bernsey said on the under, what I said, and I think you said over, or did you say the public would be on the over?
I mean, public's usually on the over, right? Public like touchdowns. Primetime unders are hitting great this year in 2020. I don't have the specific number, but it started off very hot to the over, and from week 4 on, primetime unders have been hitting. Even though this is not a 7 p.m. game, I do consider it prime time because it's Thanksgiving.
Right. Well, I can actually look that up, maybe.
And that just makes a lot of sense because usually if a general person is just wanting to watch the football game, you want to root for the over. You want to root for more action, more touchdowns, more points. And that's why it's just going to keep going up because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to pull that up, so I'm not going to try. But yeah, I mean, so I guess it looks like we're more on the under, and then we're kind of all confused on the spread a little bit. It's more of like a stay away game for the spread, it seems as if. Next game up, Cowboys Washington. Cowboys -3 versus Washington 46. Man, first of all, I don't understand why the Cowboys are the favorite here. I think Washington is a pretty good football team. I think they're underrated. And then on top of that, the Cowboys just don't do good on Thanksgiving games. In the last few years, I forget what the numbers were exact, but they have not covered a majority of their games. So, I mean, I don't understand why they're the favorite. I think, Washington should be able to. They're very much live in this situation. What do y'all have in this game?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, they're both coming off really impressive wins, right? Washington just beat the Eagles. I know many people hate the Eagles. I hate Carson Wentz personally. Cowboys just beat Minnesota in a very defensive-minded game. I know Dalton played well, but Cowboys forced maybe 2 or 3 legitimate turnovers. There's not bullshit. Like, it was real hard-hitting defense that we haven't seen all year. So they're coming off impressive wins. Obviously, Cowboys usually have the edge on Thanksgiving just because they're at home and it's a short week. But the fact for me, if I were to bet this today, the fact that the line is fishy makes me love the Cowboys.
That's a fair point. Because, most people on that line would probably be taking the Washington football team anyways. Burns, you got any take on this?
I have to agree with everything AC said there. Initially, when you look into this game, you're like, oh, okay, Washington's a very good football team. Cowboys have been struggling all year. Their quarterback issues, their defense has been one of the worst in the NFL. But he is right. The line is very fishy.
I agree with that. I can feel that.
A good it's not really a hedge 1-to-1, but if you guys wanted to, a good position here I see is you take Washington, but then you take Cowboys to win NFC East. NFC East, I think, is at 225 for the Cowboys. That's at a great number.
Yeah.
They're
I
tied.
think they will. I think they will win the NFC East.
Yeah, I think the winner of this game actually will win the division. So that's like I said, not a full on hedge, but it gets you
something of that nature. Yeah,
I think this is the only division where you could really see all four teams actually still taking the division.
Yeah.
Debatable. I don't think the Eagles are going to come close to it. I think it's really just going to come down to.
Yeah, Eagles are the most talented. They may finish fourth. Right now, the Giants, honestly, is playing well, but they have so much internal turmoil that you can't really cap a team like that. So crazily, and you guys know I'm from Dallas, so I'm a Cowboys fan, but crazily, these two teams to me have the best shot. And again, I think I would take Washington money line and then Cowboys to win the division.
That's a good play right there. In this game, personally, I like the under. Frankly, I do not like the under. I lean the under. Sorry about that. I lean the under basically because of just like the projected scores that could potentially happen. Basically, Vegas is saying 24.5, 21.5, 3-point split, but with the push on this total. But in reality, 24 and 20 are much more likely numbers. 21 hardly ever happens. I think 21 happens. I could pull it up right here. 21 happens the most. It doesn't even happen in the top 15, or it happens 11th most. That's how many times people score or 21. But 20 is scored the most. Mm-hmm. So I think taking 21 into account, I think 20 is the more likely number for the Washington football team. And then if Cowboys are projected at that 25 area, then they're also putting up around 24, 23, something like that nature. 24 is the second most amount of points scored, and 23 is the fifth most amount of points scored. So I lean towards the under for that purpose, but I also, because of that, I also don't know if it'll be 23-20 or 24-20, but if you're looking at 23-20, 24-20, then you should probably play the Cowboys -3 just because at the worst case you get a push. So that's where the Vegas is projecting those totals for the teams. Next game, Steelers -4 versus Ravens 44.5. What do y'all have on this? I don't really have much.
So I guess the first thing is this game is moved right to Sunday. COVID related issues. This one's weird to me. Both starting running backs for the Ravens are out. Who knows who else will be out by Sunday, but I've backed the Ravens. I hate the Ravens personally. Okay. I think they're super overvalued. I think Lamar is a good running quarterback. He can't throw the ball. However, this line to me is screaming Ravens. Maybe I'm a sucker for it, but I think I love the Ravens here. I would also take the Ravens team total over here. I can't speak to the Steelers. They're 10-0, but to me, they're a good team. But in terms of 10-0 teams in the history of the NFL, they're probably, below tier, very vastly overrated as a 10-0 team. 100%. But agreed. They've had one or two really impressive wins. They did show up against the Ravens last time, even though Lamar threw that game away. It's hard to beat a team twice in one season. I do like the Ravens here. What do you think, Burns?
Personally, I feel like the over is yelling my name. I feel like the 44.5 is very low. And I could see why it's that low, because both defenses are probably top 5 in the league. Steelers arguably probably the best defense in the league. The only thing I think this hurts is a little bit. It's not going to be, of course, the prime time Thanksgiving game. It is moved to the Sunday afternoon. It's, like you said earlier, there might be a little bit less action just because it's a regular Sunday game compared to the prime time. But right now, I feel like the over.
I like that play.
Yeah, my specific system is pointing towards the over, or my exclusive system that I talked about in the last episode. It's pointing towards the over, but then the combination of my systems are pointing towards the under. I don't really have a side on this total or this game itself. The line also seems fishy. I've backed the Ravens multiple times, and so normally I would take the Ravens here, but I've seen how they lose and in the fashion that they lose. So I'm just gonna probably stay away from this game altogether. But I do like the Ravens here. I think Steelers are significantly overrated. I agree with you, AC. I mean, they are 10-0, but I mean, if you compare them to other 10-0 teams in the past, they are by far the least talented of those teams.
But being a 10-0 team still makes you a very good team.
I mean, sure.
10-0 is still 10-0, right? You're as good as your record. Ben is getting better week after week.
Yeah.
One thing I would say about the Steelers is they're more versatile, and that means they can play from behind and they can play from ahead. Ravens are
definitely better coach. They're
Yeah.
definitely better coach. I think I love Mike Tomlin as a coach.
Ravens are a front-running team, and that I'm not saying that negatively. They just don't have the firepower to come back from 14-0 or 10.
100%. Agreed.
Play style just doesn't work if they fall behind. But if the Ravens get ahead, then I think that definitely helps the case of the over.
Yeah, they'll crush. The Ravens get ahead 14-0 early. It's actually a carbon copy of that first game. The Ravens drove in that first drive 80 yards, first and goal, and they got a field goal out of it. Second drive, I think they got another field goal. Because of that, instead of the 14, expected outcome when you're first and goal within the 5 twice is over 10. The fact that they only got 6 there, they lost the game right there. They should have 2 touchdowns, and Lamar threw 3 or 4 picks in the game to let Steelers get back into it. But it really does fall on how aggressive and how good the Ravens start out in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think you're completely on point with the Ravens as a team, as their personality. I think they're just front runners. Yeah. Next game, Cardinals, Patriots -2.5, 49.5. Y'all have any sides on this? This line seems just a little too fishy to me.
Yep.
Because I think everybody's jumping on the Cardinals, but then here's my trends and my system that's showing heavily towards the Patriots. I mean, I'm taking the Patriots here. By the way, I'm putting that out there. I've already played them.
That's a bet. The line definitely screams New England here. The team, the talent is Cardinals for sure, but no, the Patriots is a good play. Obviously, I haven't gone through these games, with a fine-tooth comb, but I do agree with you on New England.
It just doesn't make sense to me, and for that purpose, I think the Patriots are the play here because I think the public in masses is going to go towards the Cardinals.
100%.
I mean, why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah, I'm probably going to end up staying away from this game. Honestly, nothing really pops out at me, and I think it's a complete trick game. I don't know which way it's going to go.
100%, I feel that, but yeah, I think the Patriots are the play for here. I do want to point that and the reason I actually took the Patriots in this situation is because my system last week went 9-3, and that was like the first real true week where I enacted a whole confidence rating to it and used the confidence rating to determine which sides to take and whatnot. And it went 9-3 on the spread. That being said, the Patriots are being shown on my systems again. And then on top of that, I have a trend. And another thing that happened last week was all my games that had the trend and the systems agreeing with, they cash. So for that purpose, I'm going to take the Patriots in this situation. Just a little bit of recency bias involved with, a fishy line. I think the Patriots are the play here for me.
Is the game in New England?
I can look that up real quick.
I only asked because weather would neutralize Arizona.
I believe it is in New England. Yes, it is.
It is 100% in New England, and that actually makes a little bit more sense towards the line now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, right now with no fans, home and away don't really mean anything. But weather is a huge thing. Yeah. One thing I would say for New England is Kyler looked terrible against Seattle. He hurt his AC joint. I think it's supposed to be like a 3 to 4 week injury. He's playing through it, so we don't know if he could throw 20 yards this Sunday.
It's a fair point too.
Well, and I
do
guess
know-
there's a possibility that he sits out last second, like Saturday it could be announced.
That is true too. And at that point, I think the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals become the dogs. The Patriots become the favorite. So at this point, +2.5. I would much rather have +3 because the margin of 3 is a very key margin. Most teams actually win by 3. So, I mean, if you want to buy the half point, you can, but I'm sticking with the +2.5, just sitting there. Yeah. Vikings, Panthers. Vikings -3.5. Panthers 51. What do y'all have here? Because this is, I mean, the Panthers have shown. I mean, it was against the Lions, but they showed out pretty well. But the Vikings, on the other hand, lost to the Cowboys. It's a very interesting game.
Is back. I do like Carolina. I just don't know if he's back or not.
Yeah, I know. If I posted the trend last week, but with Bridgewater there, he is cover king. I mean, they've covered like 77% of the time with him, or just any team 77% of the time. So I mean, I truly like. I like Bridgewater.
Tough,
You
man.
play for the Saints. I'm a Saints fan.
Combination of Bridgewater and Matt Rule, they just cover. They never get blown out. I think they've only been blown out once this year.
By the Bucks.
Yeah, by the Bucks, and the Bucks are just an enigma. I don't want to get into them right now, but to me, this is a Panthers. This probably is a Panthers tease to get it above 10, to get it in another key number. Yeah, that's my read on this.
Yeah, I think the tease on this is great. I'm leaning Panthers right now. My systems are also showing the Panthers. +3.5 is personally a lean, but if you're teasing it with something, maybe even with the Patriots, matter of fact, I think that's a great play right there. Burns, do you have any takes on this?
What do you have the team total at for the Panthers currently?
If we're going off the lines, I have 27 Vikings, 24 Panthers. And those are both key numbers. 24 is the second most, 27 is the third most.
I really do love how that comes out. The Panthers over 24 because of course you could still have the push there. With Teddy Bridgewater back, the offenses looked very good. The Vikings have been giving up a ton of points almost every single week. And who knows, their loss against the Cowboys could have been a fluke just because the Cowboys offense has not clicked since Stack got injured.
100%, I feel that. But I mean, you also take the 27-24 number, and that comes back to the Panthers +3.5. Pushes it over, but it comes back to the Panthers +3.5. And to Burnsy's point, one extra field goal one way or another, you're looking at an easy over right there. Is that that's what you just said, right? Sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah, I personally love that Panthers team total over 24.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's a push at the very minimum, or that's what Vegas is projecting it to be, a push at the very minimum. And like I said, 27 is the second most key, or 24 is the second most number, and 27 is the fourth most number for teams to score. Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like the +3.5 there. I also like the over, and to your point, I also like the team total overs. So, I mean, I think this game is going to be a very interesting game to watch just because of what happened last week. I'd want to see how the Vikings respond in this situation, and I also want to see how how the Panthers. I want to see what it does to their morale because they did win without Teddy Bridgewater, and what it does for their morale with Teddy Bridgewater back. Be interesting to watch.
And a lot. I guess this is another piece of advice for people who bet NFL is coaches play a big part of over and unders. It just depends on whether the coach is aggressive, whether he coaches to win, coaches to lose. Someone like a Frank Wright in Indianapolis is always going to go for fourth down, right? Someone like Mike Zimmer is always going to punt it. So you have to take that stuff into account. I do like Matt Rule here. He does have the advantage. They are an analytics-based team, and so I don't know. This is to me, this is a Carolina tease, 100%.
Yeah, I like that play actually a lot, and I'm probably going to actually do something with that because right now I only lean Panthers. I'll probably put them in a teaser or something. I like that. Browns -6.5 versus Jaguars 49. What do y'all have here?
Really sad season as a Jaguars fan. Can't get much worse. we've got one win against the Colts from week 1, and that might kill our chances at possibly getting Trevor Lawrence. That's really sad. I got it right last week with the under with the Steelers versus Jaguars. I feel like I've been capping the Jaguars very well just because I know a lot about the team. Had the Browns spread against the Eagles last week. I think the Browns are a far better team than this line sometimes say. I feel like it's very affected by the games early in the season where they got blown out by the Ravens and the Steelers. Like they only put up 7 points in both games.
Right.
Jaguars really have no offense or defense. We have Mike Glennon starting again this week that I read earlier on Reddit. I love the Browns spread.
This one's hard for me. Last week, unfortunately, I was on Philly against the Browns, so I got completely wrong. I didn't know Carson Wentz was going to regress like 15 steps. But the Browns under has hit, like 7 games in a row?
I can look it up,
It's been hitting like crazy.
And it's not even close, right? It's not even close to these 40s. So the fact that it's 49 here, it makes me kind of think about it again. It's weird. If this is, I'm assuming this is in Jacksonville because Cleveland's played home 2 weeks in a row. So I'm assuming good weather. I'm assuming points are going to be made. This is a tough game. I agree with Bernsey. I like the Browns.
They've had 4 out of the last 5 unders this season. But this season, I mean, unless you were looking at a different thing, which I'm pretty sure you are because there's like so many trends out there where it showed like 7 unders in a row. This one is showing 4 out of 5 for the last 5, 5 and 5 this whole season. The first few games they hit overs. But like those totals were like
first few games they were rolling. Yeah, they were rolling with Odell Beckham, but without him, without that deep threat, and honestly, Cleveland's dealt with some crazy weather the last 2 weeks. Right. I don't expect that in Jacksonville, so maybe they make up for the last 2-3 weeks of not scoring touchdowns. I don't know. We'll see.
And they're absolutely chewing the clock too with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Almost every other play, it's going to them.
Good point. Yeah, potentially 2 1,000-yard rushers. Myles Garrett might be back this week. I know he was out last week. Everything leads to the Browns.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Browns as well. I'm just playing towards the total right now. They will be without Myles Garrett, the Browns.
And Denzel Ward is out 3 or 4 weeks, strained calf. So that's a big missing piece in the defense. I mean,
true.
Yeah, over might hit. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Browns here. My spread, my exclusive system, they all say Browns. I have trends that show the Browns to play to the Vegas projections. I mean, the Vegas projections are 28-21 right now. But again, 28-21, those aren't key numbers as much as the public wants to think they are because it's 4 touchdowns and 3 touchdowns. Those aren't key numbers. Don't confuse yourself. 27 and 20 are significantly more likely, 27 being the 4th most, versus that 28 number is the 14th most. Or the 20 points is the 1st most versus 21, which is the 11th most. So the more likely score right here, even though they're projecting at 28-21, is 27-20. At 27-20, Browns cover. It does go under, but I mean, I don't really have a side on the total just yet, especially because my system is pointing towards the over. But I do want to note that my system did not do well on the totals last week. It broke even, so it didn't do bad. But I mean, if it's breaking even, then I don't have a side. At least if it did bad, then I'd know to fade my system. But I don't know what to do with the totals this week with that. But as far as the spread goes, 9-3. 6. I like the -6.5 with the Browns there. I think they've come out and played pretty well. And it has to. I mean, they should have confidence boost from last week. What do you think?
Would you do Browns if it was -7.5?
Probably not, just because that's a huge difference. I mean, if I just punch that in to see what we would get.
I think it's gonna get to 7.5 before kickoff.
Oh, that's fairly
most likely.
7.5 is a very I mean, 7 is a key number.
So, the only issue I have with the 7.5, if that was the spread and the Jaguar or the under 49, is that last week, even against the Steelers, the Jaguars got into the red zone and the Steelers part of the field multiple times.
Yep.
The only reason it didn't hit was just because quarterback was, I think, he had 2 or 3 interceptions right before they were able to get into field goal and touchdown range. And that easily could have pushed the total over 46 last week.
Correct. Jacksonville was moving against arguably the best defense in the league last week. So, you would expect them to end some of those drives with some points, whether it's field goals or touchdowns. But I agree. I think the over. I like the Browns and the over. The more we talk about it.
I'm gonna pull this screen up real quick just to give our viewers a little bit of a understanding on why margins are so important. It's gonna be a really quick thing, but if you look at it, the margin equals 3 is, I mean, there's in the history of the sports database, there's 1,232 teams, then 7, then 10. I mean, there's huge fall offs between the two or between the 3. I mean, you really need to consider those -3.5s as not to cover, and those -7.5s not to cover. 10 for teasers, very important. After that, you can get a little bit more loose with where you care about where the line falls. But when it comes to 3.5 or -2.5 or 6.5 and 7.5, you really need to be considering those 3 and 7 margins right there.
I think the 3 biggest numbers by far are definitely the 3, 7, and 10, like you said.
Oh, 100%.
Whenever I see a 10.5, a 7.5, 3.5, that heavily affects my decision.
100%. Yeah, and I think it's a very important thing to take into consideration when you're capping, just because, I mean, like I said, a lot of games fall within those margins. Bills -5.5 versus Chargers 53.5. What do you have in this game? Because I don't have anything in this game.
I honestly am not going to do anything on this game. I really have nothing on this. Both of the teams
I point towards the Bills, but then my system points towards the Chargers. So it kind of like it counteracts each other. I mean, I also have a trend on the Chargers. I have 2 trends on the Bills, 1 trend on the Chargers, and then my system points towards the Chargers. It's unless line movement happens, which indicates a play somewhere in another, I'm going to stay away from this. Again, you never know what happens by the time Sunday rolls around. Some player news comes out, somebody sitting out or something important like that. Then obviously this can potentially become a play. But for now, I'm like, this is a complete stay away game for me.
Only thing that catches my eye a little bit may be the over. I love Justin Herbert. He's a great quarterback. I still think Josh Allen's in the race for MVP. Both offenses look really, really good. Chargers have blown several leads just because of their defense in the fourth quarter. Bills defense still very injured. They've been letting up a lot more points than I expected. Yeah. I would know because I drafted them in all of my fantasy leagues this year, unfortunately.
And Matt Ryan.
And Matt Ryan MVP season didn't go well for my fantasy league. So if I'm looking at anything right now, it's just the over.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say on this other than the Chargers hate covering. Anthony and don't like to cover. The Bills defense, even healthy, is a little overrated. So the over does make sense here, but at this point, I don't have a play. The Chargers broke my heart last week, so I can't.
They've been breaking my heart every week.
Yeah. But
we'll come back to that by Sunday.
One betting edge is the aforementioned Justin Herbert. If you have him for Rookie of the Year at anything less than 2-1, I would probably take it because it's his ACL. He's gone. It's basically between him and Claypool, in my opinion.
That's a fair point. Yeah, and I think he'll take it. I think Claypool is a great talent, but I think he's just gonna. I think he brings a huge impact to the Chargers, and I think that's going to be noted when the awards are given out. So I do like him to win that. I think that's a fair play. Raiders, Falcons, -355 total. Do I have anything here? I got Raiders -3 personally. I have a trend on the Raiders, as well as my system shows the Raiders. Just pulling up a little bit of the totals. They're projecting at 29, 26. Again, sitting around those key numbers. 27, 24 are much more likely. That's at the very minimum a push. But then you can also see 30-24 happen or 31-24 happen. So the majority of these potential key number scores that can happen are pointing towards the over for me. Towards the -3 for me. So with the trends and my system, I'm going to take the -3 or my combination of systems. I should add, not just the one number system, but the combination of systems. So I like the -3 there. Plus, they're a pretty good team. They've played really well against the Chiefs, and I don't see the Falcons.
For me, this is a fishy line. They're not a good team. Matt Ryan is not a good quarterback this year. The Raiders should have beaten Kansas City for sure. So the spot here is definitely Vegas. So I would have expected this number to be bigger.
Right.
Said, I know, previously when we say fishy, we go the contrary.
Way, yeah.
I still like the Raiders in this spot. The Falcons just, I think at this point they've already mailed it in. If they had beaten New Orleans last week without Drew Brees, maybe they have an outside shot at a wild card. But the fact that they lost and only scored 9 points, how do you score 9 points against New Orleans?
Yeah.
I think they're mentally out of it. So I do like the Raiders here to come back after blowing it against Kansas City.
100%.
I think a part of this line, the Raiders -3, just has to do with the fact that people still don't really think the Raiders are that good because they've been such a bad franchise for almost a decade, maybe even longer. I still love the Raiders though. I've been on them a good amount this year. I think Derek Carr's a great quarterback. Their offense is just marching it downfield several times a game, and their defense is getting really good. I think next year or 2 years, you really have to say they're Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I really do like the Raiders. I think they're a phenomenal team, and I agree with Bertie. I don't think they're getting the respect that they deserve. The fact that they beat the Chiefs, early in the season, I forget which week it was exactly.
It was 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah, and then the fact that it's the last game I was watching and I was rooting for the Raiders, and they came so close to winning. It had so many just Patrick Mahomes and Chiefs doing the Chiefs stuff. But I think the Raiders are a phenomenal team. My friend is a huge Raiders fan, so I'm happy for him.
Yeah, the story of this game is probably going to be Raiders up all game long. Falcons are going to have the ball last possession, and it's going to come down to whether they get a backdoor or not.
Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to, I feel like. And I personally like the -3. I don't think the Falcons will. Again, I agree with you in the sense that they shipped it in. I don't see anything happening. And if you put 9 points against the Saints without Drew Brees, I don't see you putting up a lot more on the Raiders. Dolphins -7 versus Jets 44.5. What do y'all have here?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I might have to take the Jets spread again. I really don't see anything going on with Tua. Oh wait, actually no. Is Fitzpatrick in this week? Is Tua still hurt?
Let me search that up.
Hurt. I don't know if he's hurt.
That fully impacts my decision if Tua's out again, because I think Tua does not look good at all this year. He has not had one good game at all yet. I think most of the games he's thrown for under 150 yards. I think one or two of the games he hasn't even hit 100, and the defense has just won them the games.
I guess while he's looking at that, I think I'm going to disagree with you on this game. I know we've been agreeing on every game, but for this one, I think I love the Dolphins. I might make it an official play. The Jets did cover last week in Los Angeles. The Dolphins kind of blew it. This is a great spot for Miami. I don't think the Jets can cover back-to-back weeks. I think they're 2-8 against the spread. I don't know if they could do back-to-back. So I think I like Miami. I like Miami big this week.
Now, do you think it's only the spread's only -7 right now just because the public perception of the Dolphins offense and Tua is lower than it generally was before?
I think it's 7 because anything more than that is only what elite teams get, right? I think the fact that Vegas gave the Chargers 9.5 last week was a big mistake. And so they're adjusting to the fact that maybe the Dolphins are not elite yet. But I think the Dolphins are getting underrated by the odds makers. I think at the end of the year, the Dolphins might have 9 to 10 wins, and they're a solid team. You're right, though, with Tua. He hasn't played well. He's a rookie at the end of the day. Fitzpatrick gives them the best chance to win and cover as of 2020.
Yes.
Miami is just looking forward, right? Brian Flores is looking more at 2021 and beyond. So,
Well, yeah, that's why you need to keep playing Tua. Just give him that experience.
yeah. I mean, it's going to happen one of these games where, the narrative is going to be, oh, Tua figured it out. He just went off for 4 touchdowns. I wouldn't be surprised if it's this game.
So there's nothing concrete on Tua right now being out. People are saying he is limited participation in today's practice, Wednesday's practice, and it shouldn't keep him out for Sunday. But there's nothing concrete from the team or anything of that nature. So he could very well be out, and we might not know it, or they might make a last-minute decision, game time decision to see if he's going to play or not.
And in addition to what AC was saying, actually, I feel like they definitely want Tua no matter hope, as long as he's not like really, really injured. I think they're hoping he could play this week because that way he could finally have hopefully a breakout game. Maybe he could figure something out, get over 200 yards, maybe 300 yards, get a few touchdowns in because he's really lacked just putting points up so far.
Yep.
That's fair, yeah. I mean, personally, I hope that doesn't happen because my systems and my trends are all pointing towards the under. And so that's what I give out as a line.
It could
By the way, I want to go back to the Raiders -3 again. I don't think I said it clearly. Raiders -3 is a play for me, not a lean. But going back to this Dolphins Jets under 44.5, that's also a play. I lean Dolphins here. I don't lean the Jets personally.
Didn't you say on last week's show that you had a stat where like if under was under like 40, if the over under was under 48, most of the time it will go under?
Yeah, I should have looked for that after I said that. I did not look for it, but I know Ralph Michaels on Twitter. I think he posted that at one point.
The under is definitely the play here. I mean, the Dolphins can definitely cover and still hit under, right? 20 or something like that.
100%.
Yeah.
And their first game was
I think
24-0.
What I like here most, like I said, my systems are pointing toward.
Oh, don't lag out.
There we are. Okay, yeah. So that's what the play is for me personally. I'm not gonna say lean on the Dolphins either because I don't really care for the spread so far. But I mean, if somebody's winning this game or covering this game, I think the Dolphins are more likely to cover than the Jets. To play to AC's point a little bit.
So I think we all agreed on the under being a fair point here.
Yeah, I think that's the first game this episode that we've all agreed on. So viewers might want to take that into consideration. Giants -6 versus Bengals 43. What do y'all have here?
Who's the backup quarterback for the Bengals?
Finley?
Is he any good?
No.
I don't think so, dude.
I mean, this feels pretty simple to me then.
I lean the Giants as well too. I also, like I said, I think the Giants are a pretty good team. Pretty good in terms of the NFC East, at least, and some of these other crappier teams. I think they just have had some internal problems on their team that have deterred them from playing the way that they should be playing. Including Saquon's injury for 2 years in a row now, and I think the Giants can perform. The question remains, can the Bengals perform without Joe Burrow, their main guy, their captain? I mean, I think the -6 is a great play here, but I'm leaning at as of right now. I want to see a little bit more before I play it, but I will take the under here because I don't think the Bengals can potentially score as much, and the Giants, even if they do score, I don't think they score a ton. I think they win by a decent margin, but not by much. So it's not. I don't think either team's going to be pushing towards the over. I think under 43 is a good play. I think, and my trends and system point towards it, and then my specific system or my exclusive system it also points towards it, and that doesn't play every line. That plays very few lines. So when that says something, I take it and I put some weight on it. So I think the under's a play here for me, it is a play here for me. Y'all got any perspective on this game?
Nothing for me. I think the under's good. Ryan Finley is not a good quarterback. Giants are still playing for something.
Right.
I do like Giants. Another betting edge instead of going for the game under. If you expect the Bengals to get blown out, definitely look into the team total under as well. So
for the Bengals.
For the Bengals, yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say that because the Giants have a lot better of a defense than I think people think. My roommate's a Giants fan, and I was making fun of the Giants' defense to him, and then he pulls up all these stats that actually show a decent defense.
Yeah.
They held the Buccaneers to 25, Eagles 17, Washington 20.
Yeah.
What's the team total set out for Bengals? Bernsey, do you know?
I could pull it up real quick.
Yeah, I know you like those team totals quite a bit. I figured you might.
I love team totals so much, especially in baseball. Oh wow, 19.5.
Okay, so for me, they're projecting it. What Vegas is projecting is 19, but the key numbers around that number, within an error of 3 is 20, 17, and 16. So 20 is my concern there, because 20 is the most likely number.
But, that'd be a lot of points for them. Honestly.
That would be, especially with the backup quarterback. I don't think 20 is that likely. I think the line is also a little skewed because, I mean, frankly, the Giants have this, negative outlook on themselves, and or not outlook, but a negative perspective, right? Perception. Why am I blanking? But yeah, they're just basically seen as a worse team than they are. I think the line might be skewed because of that, and so I think that 20 is a overestimation for the Bengals.
I think that
estimation only comes off of the spread. So
that feels like the safest play for me at this moment. I do love that under 19.5 team total.
I think that's a good play. I'm gonna stay away from it for the time being, but I'm gonna put that down here to take a look on Sunday.
And AC, did you say under, or did you also like the spread? You said.
I definitely like the Giants. I lean under. The under is a weird number, 43 with a spread of 6. If the team total for Cincy is at 20, basically, that means that the spread is going to make the total go way over. So that's something that you have to think about. I don't know if under, but I like the Giants big. I like the Giants just as much as I like the Dolphins in this previous one.
So you called the 43 number a weird number, and so that got me thinking. I was like, how many times does 43 occur? So I looked up the exact line on this game, and to my surprise, right here in the history of the game, and this ties back to Vegas projections in a slight manner. But whenever the total is set at that, at minus 643, the over-under is 3-11. And I think you can make a case for it because, again, it comes back to the Vegas projections. What are they projecting each team to score? And what are key numbers around that are scored more often? So I think that is something to take into account, that it is 3-11 there. If we look at a lot of those teams, then, you're seeing a lot of low scoring numbers, a lot of teams scoring less than 20. I think every team that lost in that situation has almost scored less than 20.
The only issue I see with that statistic particularly is that there were a lot of games in the 90s on there, and the games definitely changed a lot, especially with the new way coaches think.
That is true. That is true.
And again, I mean, people need to take into account weather, right? And I'm not just talking about rain and cold, but if it's windy, they're not going to throw the ball at all. And that might work in New York's favor, because I think, Daniel Jones, I think he could be a good quarterback. I just think he's just really off this year. But if they have a very simple plan, they have some weapons. Gallman is not a bad running back. Their outside weapons with Shepard, Slayton, Evan Ingram, like they have a really good team. So I think, they would dominate the game and then just play ball control offense. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah,
Like I said, I mean, I think the Giants, they're a much better team than I think people are giving credit for. And I think they're a better team because of the potential that they have. Because I think Daniel Jones does have the potential of being a pretty good quarterback in the league. I
Yeah.
think that receiving core also has a good potential. Um, I think they're just hurt on the running back game a little bit. I mean, if Saquon was this season, playing this season, I think it gives a lot more freedom to the receivers to sort of go out there and develop and catch some passes. But without a run game, your pass game is going to be hurt a little bit. But I think they have the potential. And against a Bengals team who just lost their quarterback, I think they're going to low morale. I think Giants are the play there. But I like the under significantly more. Colts -3 versus 3.5 versus Titans 51.5. What do y'all have here?
I just wanted to say first, I'm staying away from this game. I really have no input on it. I've stayed away from Colts games all year just because I can't figure the team out at all.
Yeah,
I've been backing the Colts all year. On the contrary, I think they're an elite team. You just don't know which Philip Rivers you're going to get.
That's the issue for me.
Yeah, everything else is great. Fact that they're getting 3 and the hook on Tennessee makes me like them a lot. But again, I am biased to Indy. I've backed them all season long. I think I'm 3-1, 4-1 maybe on them for the year. So this one's I do like Tennessee as a team. They had a very impressive win against Baltimore in overtime last week. So the spot here is to fade Tennessee, but yeah, I agree with Bernsey. I'd probably stay away from this.
I'm very biased for the Titans. I love Tannehill. I like watching the team. I like their defense. I like their offense. I love how they play, and that just adds to it. Just because it's probably a team that I'm a little bit biased for, and the Colts. I can't even talk about it.
Yeah.
So for me, I backed the Packers last week, and that hurt me because the Colts actually played pretty well that game. Then
Philip Rivers had a good comeback last week. I think they were down like 14-0.
Yeah, exactly.
14 at half.
Yeah. No, he came back on them and he won it in overtime, and it cost me money. It also cost me the the under. I had the under in the Packers, and it was all looking so good at halftime, and then boom, come back, I'm screwed. Whatever. I think the Colts played really well. The question remains: can they do that 2 weeks back to back? Like you said, playing to your point a little bit, AC, you don't know which Philip Rivers you're going to get, and so I lean the Colts. But unless some line movement happens, I'm not taking them more than likely. I do lean them, but I am too nervous on which Philip Rivers we're going to get.
Yeah.
Frankly, that's what it is.
These are two really good teams, so you don't have to have action on every game. If you have
100%, right?
Exactly, just sit back and enjoy two really good teams playing.
100%, I agree with that. That's why I lean them. If you want to play them, if somebody's really itching to play them, I think the Colts are the better play there. I think AC agrees with that. Bernsey has no opinion, but I mean, there's no reason to play that game. Not even on the total, really. Saints -6, Broncos 43.5. This also seems a little fishy to me. Just because the Broncos won last week, but I don't think the Saints performed well without, their main guy in Drew Brees. And they have so many more weapons. I think the -6 should be a little bit higher, even if it's only a hook higher. There has already been line movement. I think they were at -5.5 earlier, and they moved up to -6. So it's a very small line movement, sure, but I personally already am playing the -6. I have a trend that shows the Saints spread. I have my system showing the Saints spread. I will say this though. My exclusive system, like I said, it doesn't really fit every game, but it fits this game, and it's actually pointing against the Saints, and it's going to the Broncos. And the same system, the same exclusive system, also pointed towards the Broncos last week, and I chose not to listen to it, and I ate dirt for it. So yeah, I mean, I still lean the Saints -6. They're also my team, and I usually like to play them mainly because they are my team. So that's where I lean. I don't have any other leans on the totals. Y'all got anything on this game?
I really don't have anything. I think the Saints are still a big question mark, and I think the Broncos offense is still very questionable. Like some weeks they were putting up over 30, and then some weeks they struggle to even put up a touchdown or two.
Yeah, it's very dependent on Drew Lock. If he throws 4 interceptions like he did against Oakland or Las Vegas 2 weeks ago, they're not going to win. But if he plays mistake-free football, that's actually a good team that covers a lot of games.
Yeah,
and I'm going to stay away.
That's a fair point. Rams 49ers, Rams -7, total 45. What do y'all have here?
I kind of like the Rams. I've been very high on the Rams. Probably I'm overrating them a little bit. I definitely overrated them last year, and then they started picking up near the end of the season. 49ers defense is still tough, even with all the injuries they have. I think Jared Goff has definitely improved a lot. The coaching over in LA is very good, one of the top in the league, in my opinion. And since it's a -7, and it looks like it's trending towards the 49ers a little bit, it might move to 6.5 today or tomorrow. Yeah, right now it's -104 for me for the Rams -7. So I might wait a little bit, but currently I like the Rams here.
Yeah, I don't really have a side on this game whatsoever. This is one of those games I'm going to stay away from, and it's playing to AC's earlier point. 2 good teams. I don't have to bet it. I can just watch it and not enjoy it in itself. I mean, my system is showing a put. My combination of systems are showing a push. 3 of them are saying Rams, 3 of them are saying 49ers, and 3 of them they don't have enough confidence rating to be able to take into account. And then on the contrary, though, they show 1 and 8 towards the under. So 8 of them are saying under, 1 saying over. I still don't like the under in this situation just because both these teams, I mean, they have firepower. They can score if they so choose to do so. I mean, yeah, I really just there's nothing to play here for me. You got anything, AC? Or
yeah,
next game then.
The Rams have bit me multiple times this season. I don't have any play on this. Yeah, let's move on.
Let's do that. Chiefs -3.5 versus Buccaneers 56.
Oh wow, that's a premier game. Is this Sunday night?
No. Packers Bears is Sunday night. Pretty sure.
I'm honestly surprised this wasn't flexed the prime time.
Yeah.
I really can't say anything.
This one's hard. This was very hard. This one you have to definitely, in my opinion, if you don't have a position before the game, this could be a live play or a second half play.
Yeah.
This one's tough because I think the odds makers are trying to suck people in with that Chiefs.
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they had the hook on it as well.
Yeah.
For me in this situation, I first of all, I think it's a stay away game just because of that hook. Chiefs could very well easily only win by 3, and that's and they could potentially not win at all against the Buccaneers. So I mean, there's just too much value on the Buccaneers, but there's also you don't know what Tom Brady you're gonna get. He's not been doing so hot this season or this month actually. And balls thrown further than 20 yards. He's 0 for 19 this past month.
I think if you have trust in Tom Brady, the over deserves a little look.
That is true, yeah. For me, like AC said, and this is actually something I was already considering, I think it's going to be a live play. First team to score, that I'm going to take the other team plus the points or whatever. Buccaneers score first. I'll find Chiefs plus probably Chiefs even. Pick them, but if Chiefs score first, I'm gonna look at Buccaneers +7, +7.5 maybe on live client, and those are too much more valuable positions than this -3.5 because you could honestly make an argument for both teams right now. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those games that with the live play, you're going to find value nonetheless because a lot of things can happen in this game. There's the scoring powers of these two teams and the defenses. I think things can happen. So I think the live play is probably the best play here. Y'all got anything else to add to that?
Nope.
No.
All right, Packers minus 8.5 versus the Bears, 45 points total. What do y'all have here?
Aaron Rodgers kills Chicago every year. Eight
Yeah.
and a half is a high number. Like I said earlier, primetime unders have been hitting recently.
Right.
That would make you assume that the game is going to be relatively close, right? You usually lean dogs when it goes under, and you lean favorites when it goes over. But it's Sunday night, so we most likely have to have a position. For me, maybe I don't know, maybe another teaser with the Packers because I don't see them losing the game.
Reminder that Trubisky should be the quarterback starting because Nick Foles was injured.
So I mean that should be a jump start to their offense. I mean, Mitch is not that much better, but it does give him the element of a running quarterback, which is nice. I don't know that the Packers, the Bucks, the Saints, basically the elite teams of the NFC, I can't really get a read on because some weeks they show up, some weeks they lose to Jacksonville at home, right? So it's
whoa.
Yeah, it's
Go Jaguars.
Who did the Packers lose to
Jaguars.
in Lambeau?
Huh?
The Packers lost to Jaguars, right? 2 weeks ago.
No, the Jaguars almost beat them.
Almost beat them.
Lost by 4.
Okay. Yeah, so I can't get a read on the Packers. Obviously, if it's Aaron Rodgers, he's gonna pull something out of his butt. But yeah, this potentially could be another stay away game. If not, I would probably tease the Packers just to make sure they win because they're definitely gonna win by more than a field goal.
All right. I mean,
I
I
don't
like
mind the over actually.
I like the under in this situation.
Oh.
Wait, did you say you like the over?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
just a little, but you go first.
No, only reason I like the under in this situation. First of all, I have my systems that say it. I'm not playing it. I'm only leaning the under. But I have my systems claiming it, and then I have my exclusive system also claiming it. So I lean the under here, and I lean the Packers. But that's kind of like you said, to your point. You know, at minus 8.5, you're not really thinking about the under either. So it's kind of counterintuitive. I don't really have a play on this game right now because I have a trend pointing towards the Bears, and then I have a systems pointing towards the Packers. I mean, this is probably just going to be a stay away game for me. If I see something live, maybe I'll look into that. I mean, it's a Sunday night football game. It's a primetime game. I'm going to have something for it. It's probably going to be player props. It's not going to be maybe a team total, maybe Packers team total. I don't know. But it's probably not going to be a total or a spread for me.
So the Bears defense has been holding people down pretty well this year. The Packers offense, besides their games against the Buccaneers where they got blown out and the Jaguars, their offense has been clicking like crazy, and that's why I kind of like the over here or even the team total for the Packers. I don't see a team total prop up yet, but if I did my math correctly, the Packers should be around like a 26.5-ish, and the Bears should be around 18.5, somewhere around there. Yeah, that adds up to 45. Cool. Okay. So if I'm taking anything here, I might think about the total over or the Packers team total over. But I definitely think Mitch in his first game back, the Bears definitely have the capability to put up at least 20 points. I think, especially against a Packers defense, it's been. What would you guys say? The Packers defense is average, a little bit below average?
I'd say right around the middle of the pack.
One thing I like to add is primetime Khalil Mack is elite, is Hall of Fame.
He's a monster.
if he's playing, because I think he's hurt. I think he only played like 40% of the snaps last week. But if he's playing and he's motivated, he knows his prime time, he knows his Aaron Rodgers. That is something to watch for. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Bernsey here. Like the over is very enticing. Packers team total over is also very enticing. 26 seems pretty simple. 4 touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers. At the end of the day, if you are trying to juggle between if it's a play or not, you always should lean the better team, right? You don't want to back shitty teams at the end of the day. So the Packers are still playing for something. They're playing for the conference.
They're about to show up.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack, to your point, is questionable right now.
Yeah. So if he's not in it, Packers are going to roll. If he's playing and if he's healthy and motivated, then it's going to be
lessens it a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, next game, last game, Monday Night Football, Seahawks -5 versus the Eagles, 50-point total.
I don't understand how that line's only -5.
I don't either. I think it's too fishy, but I'm still going to take the Seahawks in this situation.
Honestly, same thing with the over-under. It's only 50 for 2 of the worst defenses in the league.
I don't know, man. I mean, the Eagles shouldn't be scoring much to begin with, so I can understand the total to an extent. The -5 is what gets me. I don't understand what's going on with that. I have 2 spreads pointing, or 2 trends pointing towards the Seahawks. My system is pointing towards the Seahawks. I'm taking the Seahawks -5. That's an official play. And I'm taking it right now. There was actually line movement because it opened at -4.5, I'm pretty sure. So, that being said, I could actually check the opening line real quick to confirm. But yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks -5. But I don't understand the line movement. I can't tell you why it's there. Maybe AC has some insight as to why it's sitting there. Whether, I don't know.
No, so for me personally, I hate 4.5 and 5 lines. If this moves to 5.5 or 6, I would definitely back Seattle. But the fact that it's sitting around 5, so there's some spots that are right now. The narrative is probably Carson Wentz sucking, and then on Monday Night Football, he's going to show out. My favorite bet would be the Eagles team total over. Surprise. Seattle's defense is overrated, even with Jamal Adams in the lineup. It's not Legion of Boom of 8 years ago. They suck, to be honest. So I do like the team total over. The thing is, the Eagles may not be able to stop Seattle on the other end, so that's why the 5 is there. But for me, I would probably throw half a unit on the Eagles team total over.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
A little perspective on that line real quick. It opened at -4.5, moved up to -5, and now it's sitting at -5, about 115. -115 had a lot of books. So it's probably going to get over to that -5.5 pretty shortly. Maybe might even get to -6.
I think I definitely agree with you on that Eagles team total over. I just have the weirdest feeling that Wentz, because I hate saying it. And one of my other roommates is an Eagles fan, so he's still on the Wentz train. But I really don't think he's that bad, and it's just a bad set of games. And against the Seahawks, worst passing defense in the league, he has to do something.
Yeah,
and
it could give him an opportunity to get back on track.
Right.
And of course, the Seahawks
play for too.
Seahawks have Russell Wilson. I think they could definitely put up a ton of points. I'm probably going to be going the over in this game.
The full game over? Or the team total?
Most likely full game.
Okay.
Because I know the Seahawks are going to put up a good amount of points as well.
Yeah, any DK Metcalf props probably all over on this game.
Probably, yeah. I mean, if the Eagles can score, this is easily going over. The question for me remains: can they score? I mean, my systems are showing over, but I mean, the question remains: can they score? For me, but, I mean, as far as the Seahawks go, I think like you said, DK Metcalf. I mean, I think the Seahawks will put up a lot of points in this game. I don't understand that -5 at line, anyways.
if Wentz can't put up any or much points against the Seahawks, then I think you have to try Jalen Hurts at least for a game or two at some point this season because you drafted him in the second round. You can't just let him just sit on the bench when your quarterback isn't doing anything.
Right, especially when you're this close to be. I mean, they still have an opportunity to win the NFC East. That is something that hasn't made sense to me. I mean, they've stuck it with Carson Wentz, and it's like, bro, you gotta be smart with your picks, man. Do y'all have anything left on this game?
No.
No, I think the over's a decent consensus between us.
Yeah, I think the one consensus we had was what?
I think there was 2 or 3 games where we all had a pretty
that's under 44.5 was that one game that we all agreed with.
Yeah, and we had 1 or 2 other ones where we were pretty much all on the same thing.
Yeah. So that was the last game on the card. So if you've stuck it out this far, we want to thank you for your support. Leave a like and comment on what you thought about the show. Let us know if you disagree or agree with any of the plays. And if you have any insight that you think might be valuable to us, let us know about that too. Again, be sure to follow all 3 of us just because you don't want to miss out on leans that might turn into plays. And we also cap other sports. Analytics Capper actually has a VIP package, very profitable package altogether. If you want to check that out, go ahead and check that out. He also gives out free plays, so follow him for those. And best of luck on your bets. And once again, thank you for sticking out this far. Do any of y'all have anything to say?
Thank you, guys. Good luck. Just cash. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh,
yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Yeah.